So the story last night, emergency repair at Ukrainian nuclear power plant, Zaporizhya, I guess. The plant's number 3 is currently going under emergency repairs causing power shortages. It's been open since 1984, has 6 power units. It's a VVER 1000 reactor, or 6 reactors. Total capacity 6,000 megawatts. And now, if you notice, this is from December 3rd, from E&E News. These stories are all from December 3rd, but the accident happened on November 28th, so 5 days before it actually hit the news, which is why you can't take anything they're saying seriously, because they wouldn't have said anything unless somebody caught them on it. So they were kept silent for 5 days, and they would have completely kept silent if no one noticed. And people in this industry are scum, and they are liars, and they're putting all of our lives at risk. Now, what they're saying that it is a short circuit on the distribution side, not the production side where the reactors are. But again, this is Ukraine, the Kiev puppet government, and even if it wasn't, you can't take nuclear industry at their word anyway. And this is according to CNN. A short circuit has impaired part of a nuclear power plant, putting no one in danger of radiation. That's what they said at WIP. That's what they said in Fukushima when it happened. That's what they always say. No danger, no risk to the public, no immediate danger. It's all the same nonsense. It says Zaporizhye is Europe's largest nuclear power plant, 125 miles from Donetsk, which is the stronghold of pro-Russian rebels that have been battling Ukrainian forces. It's downwind also. So if something were to happen, southeastern Ukraine gets wiped out. This is the first chart I came across, radiation readings. This is a spike from the Hungary border. And it looks like the spike's on November 27th, the big one. And then the second spike is also on November 27th. Which is, they say, before this happened, but again, they announced it on December 3rd, so them saying it happened on the 28th might not be true. And then the rest of the slides I'm going to show are from a blog that I found. I'll put the link. You can go check out the whole thing. Does a lot of good nuclear work. So there's no threat, there are no problems with the reactors. It says the power output system was affected, in no way linked to the power production itself. That's obviously not true, because it's like, I heard somebody describe it once like trying to fill up a paper cup with a fire hose. There's so much energy being let off by the reactors that if you can't vent that energy, if you can't get rid of it, it backs up and then the reactor overheats and melts down. So if the power doesn't get distributed correctly, it will eventually overheat the reactor. And by eventually, I mean quickly. And then in the italics in the last paragraph says, as far as I can tell, the technical problems in the Ukraine seem less bad than those in Belgium. And I think I was referring to Duel and Tehang nuclear reactors full of microcracks in the reactor vessels. I'm going to do a video on that directly after this one, so just keep that in mind. So in a previous post, I guess the day before, this blogger had noticed a radiation spike in Latvia. And then is wondering if that's related to this. It says, what comes to mind immediately is that the radiation spike caused by the Chernobyl, Ukraine accident in 1986 was first observed in Sweden, which sounded the alarm. The Latvian spikes occurred November 28th to 29th, 2014, with data blackouts after that. And the latest Ukrainian accident is said to have started on November 28th, 2014. It says, to quote from the Ukrainian EnergoAtom, NEGC, in relation to misinformation distributed by media as to disconnection of Zaporizhya Unit 3, the following information is provided. Unit number 3 of Zaporizhya NPP was disconnected from the grid by means of protections against inner generator damages. Like I said, the incident occurred at 1924 on November 28, 2014, and was caused by damage to the house load voltage transformer coil that led to disconnection of the house load transformer and unit transformer breakers. No radioactive consequences were recorded. Regardless of what is happening, one thing can be counted on. Officials will lie about the true nature of any nuclear accident. It says, see Plumegate's FOIA-released NRC documents for introduction of how the severity of the Fukushima accident was covered up. They're still covering it up. It says the timing correlation is striking. Then he goes on to look at weather patterns and stuff. I'm going to skip all that and move on to this map here. So you can see in the bottom right, that black circle, report incident at Ukraine's power plant November 28th. And then there's all those death symbols, the radioactive symbols, those are the reactors in that area. And then in those red boxes, those dots are reporting stations. So the two Russian monitors, that rectangle above the black circle, those are turned off. To the top, the Latvia spikes are recorded and then got blacked out. There's data gaps in Sweden after the 29th, so they were shut off. The stripe in the middle, they're all normal. And then bumps elevated radioactivity after December 1st in that rectangle towards the bottom of the page. So you can see kind of what these next charts are going to show where they're taken from, that lower rectangle. And so this is the original spike that he saw in Latvia. And it went up to, it looks like 600 and, it's hard to see here, 600 and something counts per minute. And then this is from Germany. You can see the spike there went up to 320. This is on December 2nd. And the next chart here is from, this is from Hungary. You can see it's a lot less, but it's at the same time on December 2nd. And then this one here is from Croatia. Again, two separate spikes, and they happened a little sooner than the other spikes that we were watching here. So something did happen. It's unclear if it's related to this, but again, you can't take them at their word. So his conclusion, there's an awful lot of monitors turned off, showing large data gaps or brief spikes that cannot be explained by rainout events or sunspot activity. So he's not sure if the Ukrainian government or the silent IAEA, which has yet to comment on this, and their criminal cohorts, are telling the whole story. He suspects there very well might have been a significant release of man-made radioactivity, and it is blowing all over Europe this week. How significant is impossible to tell from these public data. He suspects the spike observed in Latvia very well might have their origin in Ukraine. The bottom line, he doesn't know. Nobody knows, and until more data comes in, we're not going to know because they're sure as hell not going to tell us. Now, they say that they're going to get the reactor back up online tomorrow, that they're just going to replace that transformer and get the reactor right back up. If they don't, if it gets delayed, if it gets put off, then you know it's something more serious and they're just lying. That's what happened with WIP. They'll said it'll be reopened in a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months. It's still not reopened. You know, they're never going to be able to go back down there. So that's how we can tell. If it reopens tomorrow, maybe it was just this little transformer. That's not saying radiation wasn't released. It's just saying it's not as bad as if they don't open this for months or years. Then we know it's much more severe.